In the year 2000, I started having problems. I could not sleep. I used to go out, do stories for the national media at that time. But when I go home to sleep, I could not sleep at all. So I started wondering, what was the problem? One day, I was at home and I collapsed in the evening. And I was rushed to the Aga Khan hospital that particular evening. So when I got there, there was a preliminary investigation which indicated that I had a heart problem. But they could not justify what kind of a heart problem I had at that time. I was in that hospital, I think, for about 2 weeks. I could not breathe properly because some of my organs were not working then. Now, the matter went bad, but there is one man that I cannot forget today. There's one man who is called Mike Maniki. Mike Maniki works for the National Media Group based in Nairobi. He called me and told me that my problem can be resolved if I go. He can organize for me to go and see a doctor at Kenyatta National Hospital. So I was put on in a vehicle from Mombasa, and I went to Nairobi. This guy, Mike Maniki, took me to a doctor called Dr. Samuel Munene. Dr. Samuel Munene put me through a long process to find out exactly what kind of a heart problem I had. So after all the investigations, Dr. Munene told me that it's true, what I had was what we call cardiovascular heart problem, which has been caused by serious smoking of cigarettes. Now, he told me that I must undergo a process to find out what kind of problems I had. Through his investigation, he realized that one of my valves had collapsed. Yeah, one of my valves had collapsed, and therefore what was needed then was to have it replaced. They took me through a long process to find out other organs of the body, if they were working or they were affected by this smoke. And it took a lot of time because when I was admitted at Kenyatta, it was interesting because I was there for 6 months. I was admitted, I think, in May, and I stayed there, and I was discharged, I think, in December after the operation. Now, they sort of tried to find out exactly what this cardiovascular meant to me. They told me that they gave me a lot of drugs to be able to help me to prepare for the operation. Now, I do remember during that particular time when the operation was to take place, I remember we were thinking about 10 patients who had similar problems. So my operation took, I think, 8 hours. I was engaged in that operation, and fortunate for me, though we were 10, I am the only person who woke up after the operation. The rest of the people who were engaged on a similar problem, all of them died. Now, after the operation, Dr. Nene sat down with me and told me that because of the mess that had come out of smoking, one of my valves had collapsed, and therefore what was mostly required for me was that my blood cannot circulate in my body, and therefore every morning I must see a cardiologist. Now, during that time, as you remember, I live in Mombasa. During that time, I used to travel every Monday to Nairobi to see my doctor there. Then Dr. Munene told me, I think the best thing for me to be able to survive is for me to see another doctor. So he recommended to me that the best person that I can be able to see is Dr. Swale Swale, who is based at the Aga Khan Hospital. Now, what is again interesting about my problem is that I am supposed that every Monday I must see a cardiologist who will help the circulation of my blood, the blood in my body. And I have samples of those drugs with me here, and I think it's important if you could see them. When I see a doctor every Monday, I go through this. They do test on my blood, and what I pay 5,700 every Monday. This is money that I must look for every day because it is a recurring issue. Every Monday I must have that amount of money that I can be able to spend at the hospital. So regardless of the fact that I have the money or not, I must make sure that I have this 5,700 every single Monday for me to survive. So this again has affected me because my family might have other issues which they want to use with the small money I have. But because they understand that I need to go to the hospital, then that any money that is there is left for my situation on every Monday. And that this is a strain which I am undergoing now. When I miss a session, it means the circulation of the blood in my body will not be effective, and I normally feel it immediately. When I cannot attend that clinic on Monday, I may not be talking to you now if I did not attend the clinic this morning. I cannot be able to. I get affected. I may not be able to communicate with you because the flow of the blood in my body is affected. So those are some of the dangers which I have every day. And again, what is again important about those drugs is I take 4 grams of those warfarines every evening. So those drugs to me is like food. I might not have food. I may not have food, but I must have those drugs because those drugs will make me be able to wake up and talk to you the next day. So those drugs have been part and parcel of my life.